Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time, welcome. My name is Nikita, and on this channel we chat about diversifying our reading, being inclusive with our reading, especially with the focus on BIPOC and South Asian stories, both in fiction as well as in real life. So on my channel you can expect a lot of book chats, book recommendations, as well as my podcast called Brown People Problems. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to do another book tag. I was very kindly tagged by Priscilla at the Evening Reader in a book questions tag. I believe this is called another random questions book tag. This has been created by James Holder. I will of course link that channel below as well as Priscilla's. If you enjoy this video and if you enjoy my presence on here, please feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. Actually, my YouTube analytics are showing me that most of you, around 70% of you watching this, aren't actually subscribed. So it'll be really great to see that number go down. So if you want to hit subscribe, that would be great. All right, so let's get into it. Priscilla's version of this tag was quite fun. And it's about 15 questions, and I hope that me answering these questions just, helps us all get to know each other a little bit better. All right, question number 1. What is a book you don't want to admit you hate or dislike? Actually, this is very nicely timed because last month I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I know there is so much hype around this book, and I think some people consider it like the best romance of all time or their favorite romance books of all time. And I had never read any Christina Lauren. This was my very first Christina Lauren, and I gotta say, I DNF'd it at 40%. And not only did I DNF it, I actually even donated my hard copy. I had like a paperback. I donated it. I just didn't even want it in my collection. And for the longest time, I just felt like I was doing something wrong. I thought, is it just me? Do I not like romance? But that's not true. I really enjoy romances. And this one it just felt really dragged out. And I didn't feel attached to any of the characters, and it takes a lot for me to not finish a book. And I was actually really quite embarrassed to admit it, because if you check out the ratings of this book on Goodreads, they're quite high. And again, like I said, people rave about this book. So I was a little bit embarrassed to admit that I just did not enjoy it. And yeah, I had to give it away. That's the one. I don't know, has anyone else read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren? Did you have a similar experience, or did you felt like attached and connected with the story and the characters right off the bat? Because I didn't. Also with me, I guess maybe the difference here is that when I read romance, I prefer romance plot to be like a subplot. My main plot has just got to be something else. So maybe that was that. Prompt number 2. Are there authors whose work you haven't gotten on with or you want to revisit? This is a tough one. I mean, I guess I could say Christina Lauren, because just because I didn't enjoy that one book doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy anything else that they write. But that seems like too easy of an answer. But this is a hard one to answer, because if I don't enjoy a book, I don't keep it in my collection. I donate it. If I have a physical copy, I just donate it. I don't keep it in my collection at all. Having said that, okay, so a couple months ago, I read Well-Behaved Indian Women by Soumya Dave, and you've heard me talk about this book a lot. I liked it. I wouldn't say I didn't get on with it, but I don't think this lived up to the hype, or I guess my expectations of it, and just how other people have enjoyed it. So this is an author that I am actually revisiting. So if you didn't know, I've started my own little BIPOC reading book club virtually on Fable. I will link it down below. But we are starting May 1st. So just shortly after this video goes live, we are reading What a Happy Family by Soumya Dave. This is a second book by that author. Because I follow her on her socials, and just her whole personality and things that she talks about, and just her whole like online presence absolutely resonates. Like I absolutely love it. I love following her. So I just think that book was just a fluke, I guess, for me. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. What a Happy Family. It follows an Indian American family, and I'm expecting like a lot of like family drama, cultural dynamics, things like that, which is actually quite similar to Well-Behaved Indian Women. So I'm just hoping to give it another chance and hoping that I really enjoyed it, because it has an endorsement from Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is pretty huge. So we'll check it out. If you would like to read along with me, please feel free to join my virtual book club down below. Question number 3, is your TBR outlined or pantsed? I don't know what that means, but I guess it is outlined because I am very specific with my TBR. This is my little TBR cart. I keep them all in here, typically by like the sequence that I would like to read them in. So I like to keep them all in one place so that I'm always like looking at them, because I find that if I buy new books and I shelf them away, then they just disappear in my collection and I don't get to see them. But if anyone's interested, right now in my TBR, well, what I've started from my TBR is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. It's like a small town of romance. So far, it's quite nice. And I'm also reading The Fall of Giants by Ken Follett. This is huge. It's a historical fiction. I talked a lot about it in my last video. Prompt number 4. What is your favorite BookTube reading event? I don't think I've ever attended a BookTube reading event. Please, someone invite me to one if you're watching this. That sounds really fun. I've never done like a BookTube reading sprint. I've never done like a read with me or anything like that. I would love to attend one so I can answer this question. But if you're watching and you want to tag me in one or invite me, please feel free to do so. Prompt number 5. How many works does it take to decide if you like or dislike an author's work? This is actually a really good question. For me, I don't think it's so much about pieces of work as it is about a specific piece of work, because I have read authors that I absolutely adored some work by, and some of their other works, it just, kind of rolled off my shoulder. I was quite indifferent to it. So because I know that not every story that an author writes can be consistent in appeasing to, everyone. So if I read something by an author and I love it, they are an author that I like. There's very less authors with whom I would, kind of see their name on something and just it would be like an instant buy for me, because I like to judge each book by as its own. If just because it has an author stamp on it, I don't just buy it. The only exception here is J.K. Rowling, with her Harry Potters and everything else that she came out with after. She came out with like a couple children's stories that have them here, like the Ichabod and the Christmas Pig. Those I did buy blindly. But like with the exception of J.K. Rowling, there aren't so many authors where I'll kind of just see them and I know I have to buy it. There is Bali Kaur Jaswal, an author that I recently interviewed on my podcast. I will link it for you here if you want to check it out. She wrote the erotic stories for Punjabi widows. I have her new book here. It's called Now You See Me. I was being lazy, so let me show it to you. It's called Now You See Me. I talked about it in my last video as well. So I guess she is one author who I love, and I am likely to just automatically pick up whatever she writes. Which of the 7 deadly sins do you experience the most? This is a really interesting question. Let's see. We've got lust, gluttony, pride, envy, greed, wrath, and sloth. It's interesting. I think I found myself in many of these throughout my life. I've been in the place of pride. I've been in the place of gluttony. I have been in a place of envy as well. The one that I've recognized with the most, I guess I'm gonna say the one that I recognize with most recently would definitely be sloth, which is like laziness, lack of effort, but not to like a large degree. We've had a lot of rainy weather recently where I am, and as much as I enjoy rain, you know, it's nothing better than rain, a nice cup of tea, and cozying up with a book. When it's just like perpetual rain, it does tend to suck out all this energy from me. So that's, I guess, one that I've like noticed come up for me most recently. It's been a little bit harder to keep a schedule or find the same type of motivation to get out, be active, or just do things around the house. Next question, which of the Olympian gods is your favorite? Ooh, I'll have to say Athena. I was in Athens last year in the fall, and I was so lucky to be able to visit the Acropolis, and I did a guided tour in the city, and just all the things that I learned about how like Athena, and apparently if you're not too familiar with like Greek mythology, there is the myth is that when the residents of Athens were trying to name the city, the competition was between Zeus and, was it Zeus? Yeah, I believe the competition was between Zeus and Athena, and eventually I think like Zeus gave them something that was like quite inconsequential, but Athena gave them olive trees for prosperity. And so Athena won, hence Athens. And in the Acropolis, they used to have apparently a huge statue of Athena, who's really the goddess of like wisdom, and you know, she's been associated with feminism, and those are definitely some values that I have. And I don't know too much about her. I haven't read too many stories about her. I am hoping that there's going to be some really awesome retelling that's going to come out with a focus on Athena, because I would really read that. Next prompt, what is your go-to special event? You know, I really enjoy any types of like outdoor activities in the summer, especially. Like I love, for me, a special event would be, you know, it's not so much these big fancy events that you need to go to, but a special event for me would be a reading day in the park with friends, or a biking, you know, date with some friends where we just like bike across town. Those are actually really special for me. And they do for me like a lot more than going to some like big fancy party and just sitting and making conversation. Next prompt, do you attend local celebrations, fairs, festivals, markets, etc.? Yeah, absolutely. I am in a major city, so we do tend to have a lot of fairs, festivals, markets. Definitely try to visit my local farmers markets as much as possible. And we definitely have like a lot of food festivals in the city as well in the spring, summer. We try to go to whatever we can because they're just fun. It's nice, especially the food ones. You kind of get to go around, sample like a bunch of different food and just like be in like that culture and that space. So it's a lot of fun. Prompt number 11. Are there any booktube videos you have had a hard time making? Ooh. Are there any booktube videos that I have a hard time making? Not necessarily, not yet, because I'm relatively new, but I imagine I would have a hard time making if I ever wanted to make one. I would have a hard time making the 24-hour like readathon videos that you see everywhere on booktube. I don't know how some of these YouTubers do it. They literally will stay up and they will read for 24 hours. Or some of them will, you know, split like 12 hours on 2 different days, which is still a lot of reading for one day. And I just don't know if I have like the capacity for that. Question number 12. Are you interested in local history? Gosh, absolutely. One of my bigger regrets in life is not studying history in university. I would have loved to do a minor, or I guess even a major, and it would have been great. Because history sometimes always fascinated me, especially local history. I really enjoy. I actually love the history of everywhere I go. Whenever I'm traveling anywhere, one of the types of tours that I always book for myself is just a general walking history tour. So I did one in Barcelona where we went around and we looked at like the 3,000-year-old like history in Barcelona in the Gothic quarter. Similarly, I did that in Athens as well, and just anywhere, especially in a European city that I visit. There's so much history in Europe, everywhere really, but particularly in Europe. And I book a tour everywhere. So shortly I will be traveling to Ireland, and I was actually in the process of booking a history tour in Dublin last night. There's just something about history that's just so fascinating. Next prompt: what subjects were your favorite in school? Yeah, nice segue into this question. History was definitely my favorite. I was always told that you couldn't do anything with a history degree. I guess there's some accuracy to that, unless you pursue like a lot of higher education. So I was quite discouraged from that, but history was definitely my favorite. Social sciences, my favorite, whether it's anthropology, sociology, psychology. I really, really enjoyed those courses. I really enjoyed drama as well. That was a fun surprise for me in high school. Other than that, we didn't have too much variety in our school in terms of what was offered. But these were definitely some of my favorites. Like, I would look forward to them every week. Prompt number 14. If you could go back in time and change one thing in your life, what would it be? Oh man, I mean, I guess there's a lot, but for the purposes of this video, we'll keep it light and entertaining as opposed to deep and dark and depressing. But one of the things that I think I would change is, I think the studying history piece. I'm, very glad that I've had the privilege to pursue higher education. I've had the privilege and the comforts of being able to do the type of work that I do now, and I absolutely love the work that I do. But I think it would have also been nice to at least do a dual degree. I don't know if I would have wanted a different career per se than what I have now, but I think learning history or even like creative writing in an academic setting, I think there's a big part of me that missed out on that. And that's one thing I would change. I would go back and I would, really kind of convince myself, my younger self, to enroll. Like for my electives, I chose philosophy, which was fine. It was good. It was great. But I would encourage, the 18-year-old me to sign up for random history classes, whether it's like European history, medieval history, North American history, whatnot. Just study history in academic setting and give myself an opportunity to learn more like creative writing and just more creative work. I think that's something that I wasn't exposed to a lot, and I've certainly dipped my toes in creative work later on in life as an adult, but that's something that I would give myself exposure to much sooner if I could go back and change. All right, and the last prompt is, are there any childhood entertainments that you still engage in? Oh, this is a nice question. Reading is my main childhood entertainment that I still engage in and I absolutely enjoy. I also used to enjoy, I guess, just like some arts, like drawing and whatnot as a child. So it's something that I still try to do every now and then, whether it's just illustrating or painting. Another thing I used to enjoy as a child was puzzles, and I have really been enjoying doing puzzles as an adult. I just like putting things together, and I never had too much of an opportunity to play with Lego when I was a kid. So as an adult, I have found so much joy in Lego sets, and I still do a lot of puzzles on my iPad every single day. Pretty much I'm doing a puzzle at nighttime. So I think, now that I think about it, there's a number of childhood pursuits that I'm still pursuing. And, they're just, I think, like lifelong pursuits. It's really important. I think as we grow older, we tend to discard play, understandably so, because life happens. So it's really important to maintain a sense of like play and exploration and creativity as we continue to do life. Okay, perfect. That was nice, short and sweet. My 15 responses to these prompts. Thank you so much to Priscilla for tagging me in this. I love doing these tags. They're a lot of fun. And thank you to James Holder for creating this. I'll definitely be linking all these channels down below. And I'll also be linking the people that I tag down below. So if there is a tag that you would like me to replicate, please let me know. I really enjoy it. And I hope you enjoyed this. Very different than what I usually do, but maybe like you know a little bit more about me now. And I had a lot of fun doing this. Thanks Priscilla. All right, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and leave me a comment so I know. And I will see you in my next one.